What would you do if a roommate, not your husband, walked into the room right when you didn't want anyone to see? And the worst part is the look he gave you. There are moments in life that distinctly mark a division between what was and what is to come. And that seemingly mundane afternoon stands as one of those pivotal instances for me. All had followed the familiar cadence of the everyday. When my husband Mark started another business trip, I found myself alone in the quiet of our home. His departure brought with it a singular advantage, the opportunity to reclaim time for myself, a luxury I had long overlooked. The past 3 years of Mark's indifference had led me to a place where solitude became a cherished indulgence. And today was one of those exquisite moments. In the sanctuary of my bedroom, enveloped by the embrace of my cherished bedding, I arranged my laptop and positioned a handful of personal artifacts within reach. In times past, I found great value in moments such as these, especially during the hours when Liam was away from home. Yet, upon his return from university, the quest for such possibilities seemed almost futile. Liam, Mark's son from his first marriage, possessed a presence that was hard to overlook. The memory of our first encounter lingers vividly in my mind. His towering height, defined features, and intense gaze left an indelible mark. Yet I convinced myself it was merely a fleeting notion. I was aware that Liam was out with his friends and wouldn't return until the evening. A sense of security enveloping me, I withdrew to my chamber for a moment of solitude. I thought I had secured the door, yet I failed to realize it wasn't latching as it should. As I began to unwind, chaos ensued. As I was finding my comfort, Liam made his entrance. The fleeting moments when our gazes intertwined seemed to stretch into infinity. I tried to hide the items I held, but the moment had slipped away from me. The sounds emanating from my laptop pierced the air, causing his eyes to widen in astonishment. My body became rigid. I found myself paralyzed, unable to shield my being from the overwhelming noise. Nor could I flee from the crushing weight of my own humiliation. My heart raced with such intensity that it felt as though it might explode. Liam's expression lingered in the mind, a tapestry woven from threads of shock, curiosity, and an unvoiced yearning, perhaps even desire. In that moment, the emotions coursing through me were far beyond mere shame. That fleeting look compelled me to face the void I had been harboring. I suppose I ought to have rapped upon the door. Liam's voice emerged as a low, unsteady murmur, rich yet quivering. He stepped back deliberately, his gaze locked onto mine, until the door slammed closed. Exhausted, I fell onto the bed, my face finding refuge in the shelter of my hands. What has just transpired? At the age of 42, I found myself exposed, with Mark's son, my stepson, bearing witness to my fragility. The image of his gaze lingered in my mind, a haunting echo that stirred an unusual warmth within me each time it resurfaced. Yet, I was engulfed by a profound sense of humiliation. That expression, it transcended mere surprise. There was an essence to it, a quality that seemed to understand me, and perhaps even yearn for my presence. Though the very act of contemplating it felt inherently wrong, even repulsive, I found myself unable to resist. My heart raced, and the feeling that surged within me transcended the mere embarrassment I had once noted. Liam's quiet observance, the manner in which his gaze held on to me, and the understated ways he conveyed his intrigue. Yet I consistently brushed it aside, feigning ignorance of its presence. In the wake of this experience, a palpable shift enveloped everything. For 3 more days, Mark vanished, leaving just Liam and me within the confines of the house. Uncertainty loomed, as I contemplated the moment of confrontation ahead. Yet, beneath my concern for what this might signify, there lay a palpable thrill, an element of the forbidden, dangerous, and utterly inescapable. I thought this was the conclusion, that it would forever be labeled as a mere accident. Yet I was blissfully unaware of the surprises that the following day held in store for me. To discover more captivating confessions and lend your support to the station, consider subscribing and activating notifications. Believe me, this will be one of the most extraordinary tales you've ever encountered. Liam was absent from my sight for the rest of the day. That night, I wrestled with the elusive embrace of sleep. The next day unfolded largely in quietude. Liam lingered in his room, and after quickly preparing dinner in the kitchen, I made my way back to the living area. It seemed we were dancing around each other, yet the palpable tension hung in the air like an unspoken truth. We were both conscious of it, yet chose to overlook it. As the evening shadows deepened, I resolved to indulge in a refreshing shower. As the warm water flowed over my skin, I sought to drown out the memories of the day before. Yet the image of Liam's astonished yet fervent expression lingered in my thoughts. Engrossed in contemplation, I was suddenly jolted from my reverie, as the power flickered and vanished without warning. The water persisted in its gentle cascade, yet the bathroom had succumbed entirely to darkness. For a fleeting moment, dread enveloped the scene. I turned off the water and enveloped myself in a cozy bathrobe. As I tightened the belt around my waist, Liam's voice suddenly pierced the air from the corridor, echoing with urgency. "Emma, are you okay?" he inquired. "I am well. It seems that the electricity has gone out," I replied, my voice trembling just a bit. I cinched the robe belt and moved toward the source of his voice. As I stepped into the kitchen, he was hidden from view, yet the sound of his footsteps echoed in the air. "We must locate a candle," he stated with a tense inflection. A faint glow from a street light outside cast a soft light over one corner of the kitchen, leaving the rest shrouded in shadows. In the midst of our chaotic movements, I inadvertently collided with him, my shoulder meeting his chest with a sudden impact. We both stood still, breath caught in our throats. His hands swiftly encircled my waist, anchoring me in place. Yet that contact transcended mere instinct. "Apologies, I failed to see you," Liam said, his voice soft, almost a whisper. Our gazes intertwined, softly touched by the dim glow filtering through the window. In that moment, the connection between us surged with an intensity unlike anything I had ever experienced. "It's okay," I murmured, my voice trembling despite my attempts to maintain my composure. My heart raced with such intensity that I was certain he could hear its frantic rhythm. Liam's gaze lingered on my lips, his breath a whisper against my skin. As the space between us vanished almost entirely, "Emma," he whispered softly, his voice brimming with feeling. In that moment, every wall I had held on to seemed to crumble away. The lights flickered back to life, and we instinctively recoiled, resembling two figures surprised in a moment of indiscretion. Liam approached the breaker box, feigning interest, yet the palpable tension lingering between us was unmistakable and unresolved. As I stepped back into the living room, Liam's eyes remained locked on me, now brimming with determination. He uttered, "Emma, we must converse." His tone of voice suggested that this conversation would transcend the ordinary. My heart quickened once more as I found myself seated opposite him in the living room, the atmosphere around us dense and almost stifling. It was clear to us that this meeting had been long awaited, and nothing would remain unchanged in its wake. Liam's voice was a gentle whisper, his eyes cast downward, Emma, I apologize for what happened yesterday. It was never my intention to cause you any discomfort. As the door creaked open, I realized I ought to have turned my gaze elsewhere. His voice faded into silence as he grappled with the right words, yet I found myself unable to hold back, he admitted. Upon hearing this, my heart raced with increasing fervor, and a flush of warmth enveloped my cheeks. In spite of my attempts to mask it, I found myself nodding, striving to maintain my composure. Yesterday, I found myself in a moment of deep humiliation, I confess, yet I truly hold no blame towards you. Everything about this house feels strangely out of the ordinary these days. Liam lifted his gaze, locking onto mine with an unwavering intensity. Emma, you are not the one who stands out as peculiar. Mark's absence is quite unexpected. Being so distant from you, his remark struck me with the force of a blow to the heart. I had exerted every effort to ignore Mark's absence. Yet when Liam voiced it, a spark ignited within me. Text, it doesn't matter, I murmured, my voice betraying the uncertainty that lingered within me. Liam took a deep breath and leaned closer. It holds significance. How could it possibly not, Emma? Loneliness envelops you, and it is not a reflection of your worth. Tears brimmed in my eyes as his words dismantled the barriers I had built. Loneliness, I whispered to myself. I believed I had grown accustomed to it, yet Liam's affectionate gaze compelled me to express myself further. Yet, there are moments when it seems truly overwhelming. I find myself uncertain about how to navigate this situation. Liam reached out, his hand finding its way to mine. My breath hitched beneath the gravity of his touch. You shouldn't have to feel this way, Emma, he replied, his voice steady and assured. No one as remarkable as you ought to experience such solitude. For a moment, I found myself captivated by the earnestness of his words and the significance of his hand resting on mine. As my eyes fell upon his face, it struck me just how authentic he truly was. In that moment, clarity struck me. It was far more than a mere misunderstanding. Liam's intentions were genuine. I endeavored to redirect the conversation from the underlying strain. Let us delve into the story of Emily. I infused my voice with greater steadiness. My heart sank when you mentioned the possibility of a split. Yet I noticed Liam pause for a moment, drawing in a deep breath before meeting my eyes once more. It had been ages since he felt anything for her, he admitted. The relationship concluded some time ago, yet I found it difficult to acknowledge the truth. I scrutinized his expression with great care. What prompts this moment? What prompted you to bring this to a close at this moment? Liam momentarily shifted his gaze before bringing it back to me. The closeness we shared was palpable, and I could sense the warmth of his breath. It's because I like you, Emma, he said, his voice a gentle blend of softness and assurance. Emily faded into the background, for you were the sole occupant of my thoughts. This situation has persisted for quite some time. That is the reason I brought it to a close. I parted my lips, ready to speak, yet found myself at a loss for words. Liam gently encircled my waist with his hands, drawing me nearer. Our lips hovered mere inches from one another, and in that moment, I realized it was more than a fleeting desire. A line loomed before us, one that once crossed could never be undone. As Liam's lips met mine, the world around us faded, and time itself seemed to hold its breath. His warm assurance and the magnetic pull between us enveloped me entirely. My heart pounded wildly, and my thoughts slipped away into a void. Nothing else mattered but the moment shared with him. At last, the fervor consumed me, and I pulled away from the kiss, leaning back just enough to catch my breath. Gazing into his eyes, I confessed, I've felt an undeniable pull towards you for quite some time, Liam. As the words escaped my lips, I sensed each barrier between us disintegrate completely. For a fleeting moment, we found ourselves enveloped in silence, a pivotal instant where we both contemplated the lengths we were prepared to traverse. Our gazes met, I inhaled deeply, and rose to my feet. He looked taken aback, but a trace of longing flickered in his gaze. The weight of this solitude has become unbearable. I articulated my thoughts with conviction, my tone resolute. Having restrained myself for an eternity, the thought of halting now felt utterly pointless. Liam cast a fierce and captivating gaze in my direction. With deliberate care, I loosened the belt of my robe, letting the soft fabric cascade down my shoulders and pool around my feet. With a sense of purpose, I made my way toward the vast couch in the main room. I sank into the soft cushions, my body sprawled out in a languid embrace. Liam acted without a moment's pause. He peeled away his garments, each piece laid aside with deliberate care. Each movement appeared intentional, as though he were engaged in a struggle against the relentless flow of time. His knee rested on the couch beside me, while his hands gripped the cushions on either side of my body, providing him with the support he needed as he leaned in closer. His breath grazed my skin, igniting a wave of warmth within me, akin to a jolt of electricity. Our gazes intertwined, and his lips gently met mine. That kiss was anything but ordinary. It marked the unshackling of every repressed feeling, every taboo idea, and every yearning that had emerged from solitude. Liam's hands found their way to my waist, a blend of gentleness and intensity in his grip. As my eyes lingered on Liam, a dormant feeling stirred within me, a sensation I believed had long been lost to time. With each word that escaped Liam's lips, I found myself irresistibly drawn closer to him. My body quaked as I shut my eyes, releasing a resonant sound into the air. As I opened my eyes, I caught sight of Liam's broad shoulders and instinctively placed my hands on his back. His face flushed crimson, and we found ourselves both breathless. In that instant, I found myself wholly absorbed, while Liam radiated joy and unwavering devotion. As my body quivered once more, I dug my claws into his back. He seemed to revel in it profoundly, and he released himself entirely. A gentle warmth enveloped me, saturating my being with an exquisite joy that felt all-consuming. Each moment spent with Liam was both captivating and terrifying. With Mark's return still a few days away, Liam and I found ourselves enveloped in intense moments that shattered every boundary. It seemed so instinctive, so destined, that the sense of wrongness gradually slipped away into obscurity. Liam's presence breathed life into the emptiness that Mark's indifference had created, awakening a sense of vitality within me once more. Upon Mark's return, his indifference lingered, steadfast and unyielding. The solitude I experienced in his absence, intertwined with the bond I shared with Liam, highlighted the chasm that lay between us. Even with Mark back home, Liam and I continued our texting, undeterred by his presence. Engaging in conversation with Liam addressed a void that had become impossible to overlook. On what appeared to be an ordinary evening, Mark nonchalantly mentioned that he had a work meeting and would be absent for the night. A smile crept onto my face as a wave of joy enveloped me. With a swift motion, I reached for my phone and started to compose a message to Liam. Mark is absent this evening. It is just the two of us. I eagerly anticipate our reunion. My fingers hovered above the submit button, a moment of hesitation stretching into eternity as my heart raced. But at last, I pressed it down. As I placed my phone gently on the table, a subtle smile crept onto my lips, my thoughts drifting to the promise of the evening that lay before me. Unbeknownst to me, Liam found himself entangled in a fervent dispute with his former girlfriend, Emily. Her relentless gaze bore into him, driving him to the edge, and he resolved that it was time to put an end to it. Emily's gaze brimmed with determination and disdain as she cut him off at every opportunity. Liam said to Emily, "That's enough," with a resolute yet fatigued voice. "Keep your distance from my existence. I no longer desire it." The phone belonging to Liam vibrated softly against the surface of the table, drawing Emily's gaze. Her brows knitted together as she caught sight of the television, and the artificial smile she had been wearing slipped away. "I had a feeling it would come to this." She spat her words with a sharp, venomous edge. "I witnessed the two of you sharing a kiss." Liam reached out for his phone, but Emily retreated, holding it tightly in her grasp. "I shall reveal all to Mark." Her voice dripped with venom as she spat out each word. "Each day, I find myself observing you both closely." Liam felt his heart sink as he came to the unsettling realization that everything was spiraling beyond his grasp. As the evening unfolded, Liam shared with me the details of his discussion with Emily. "Yesterday, I had a conversation with her," he commenced with a serene tone. "Nothing transpired. I merely expressed my desire for her to give me some space. She had been persistently nudging me for a while, but it is now complete." His remarks offered a semblance of comfort, yet an unsettling feeling of dread lingered deep within me. On the following day, Mark's demeanor shifted in an unforeseen manner. He exhibited an unexpected level of attentiveness following breakfast. Typically distant and frigid, he unexpectedly appeared at every turn, his gaze fixed upon me with unwavering intensity. "How are you, Emma? Is there anything new happening these days?" Mark asked, his eyes locked onto mine, a hint of skepticism lacing his tone. His newfound focus endured as the day unfolded, and with every ticking hour, my terror deepened. As the evening wore on, I found myself reaching my limit. I dispatched a message to Liam. "Mark's performance strikes me as rather peculiar. He appears to harbor some doubts about a certain matter." Fear grips me tightly. As I pressed send, the doorbell chimed. As Mark swung the door open, Emily's voice resonated powerfully through the corridor. As my eyes wandered to the corridor, a chill coursed through me at the sight of her. Emily lingered in that moment, a playful grin dancing on her lips, her eyes flitting between me and Liam. Her eyes conveyed a wealth of understanding, revealing her deliberate choice in how to wield her knowledge. Mark, still unaware, asked, "Emily, what brings you here?" His words tumbled out in disarray, yet Emily's unwavering gaze remained fixed upon him, as though she had meticulously crafted this very moment. Emily welcomed Emma with a tone laced with sarcasm. Her piercing gaze enveloped me, rendering me utterly breathless. She shot a quick look at Liam before turning back to me, her smile widening. "It seems we have quite a bit to discuss," she remarked with a hint of satisfaction. In that fleeting moment, a part of me shattered. My mind swirled with a cacophony of wild thoughts. What is it that she understands? What words will escape her lips? Will she let Mark know? Could this be the conclusion of it all? My hands quivered as I stole a glance at Liam, his eyes mirroring the turmoil within me. Emily, her serene yet mischievous smile gracing her lips, was the most perilous figure in the room, exuding an unspoken menace. In that moment, it dawned on me that this was just the start of something greater.